Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover in this video, so as always, do me a favor before we dive into these topics. If you end up enjoying the video or finding it informative, make sure you leave it a like, and if you are new here to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button as well. The first topic we're talking about, Hogwarts Legacy, specifically the map size has leaked out, as well as the PlayStation trophy list. So I'm not going to go over the trophies, but, I'm just going to let you guys know generally what to expect. Like, if you're somebody who's planning on platinuming the game, this is reading from WCCF Tech. They say, just how big is Hogwarts Legacy going to be? Early footage shown by the game's developers has hinted at a fairly large experience, but of course, previews can be manipulated to make a game seem more substantial than it really is. Well, the game's full map and trophy list have leaked, and Harry Potter fans shouldn't worry about running out of things to do once the game launches next week. The leaked Hogwarts Legacy map shows a fairly sizable landmass for aspiring wizards to explore, dotted with dozens of quick travel fires and village markers. There are also separate pop-out maps for Hogwarts and Hogsmeade Village. Is this a Red Dead Redemption 2 sized map? No, not quite, but those worried you just get a few throwaway areas outside of the main school can lay their fears to rest. Meanwhile, you are able to now see the full PlayStation trophy list. The trophy list looks to be fairly heavy on busy work, with the game having over 600 collectibles, 57 side quests, and much more to track down. So as I said, I'm not going to list off these trophies because not only would that take too long, but there's likely to be spoilers there. But yes, 600 collectibles, that is a lot. So I'm definitely interested to hear if you guys are going to try to platinum this game. But as for the size of the map, it looks pretty big, I would say. Again, it's not like the biggest open world, but I think for most people, it's not necessarily the size of the map or the open world that matters. It really comes down to the density and the detail. I think that matters much more than sheer size. And, based off of everything we've seen of this game, it looks to be a very densely packed title. So there you go. Moving on from that, we're talking about Death Stranding 2. This is reading from Gaming Bolt, and it says Kojima Productions are almost always guaranteed to be on the cutting edge of technology at the time of their launch, so it seems safe to assume that Death Stranding 2 isn't going to buck that trend. And while it's going to be a while before we get concrete details on exactly how the game will do that, Hideo Kojima has been dropping some interesting tidbits over on Twitter. Something that Kojima Productions is focused on for Death Stranding 2, it seems, is making more photorealistic CG, for which the studio even invited Japan lighting director Mayumi Nishiyama to give a lecture. Kojima explained that since the studio only has experience with lighting in a CG environment, the development team had Nishiyama demonstrate the basics of live action lighting in order to familiarize them with this technique. Actor Shioli Kitsuna, who has been confirmed to have a role to play in Death Stranding 2, served as the model for the experimentation for the technique, with Kojima saying, "It is difficult to properly express the skin tone, dark hair, and eyes of Asian people. The look of Shioli in DS2 is a challenge for us. We will be using new techniques that were not used in the previous game, but we must first go back to the basics of visuals and start experimenting." So I thought that this was just some interesting insight into everything that's going into the development of Death Stranding 2. I think that what we saw in the trailer was already very impressive. You can certainly tell it is a next-gen leap with some of the visuals and the details that we're seeing in that trailer. And knowing that they're using the Decima engine, knowing that Kojima does like to be on the cutting edge, I have a feeling that this is going to be one of the best-looking games we ever get when it comes out, and it seems that what Kojima is sharing here can give us some confidence in that. So there you go, there's your small update on Death Stranding 2. Next up, we're talking about Gran Turismo, more specifically the next mainline Gran Turismo, that being GT8. Reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, they say Kazunori Yamauchi, the CEO of developer Polyphony Digital, has indicated that Gran Turismo 8 is already in the works in a recent interview. In fact, he already has a theme in mind for the next game. This reveal comes alongside the announcement from CES 2023 that GT7 will be compatible with PSVR 2 in a free update. In an interview with Japanese outlet GameWatch, Yamauchi responds to a question about whether he thinks there's anything that the Gran Turismo series hasn't been able to achieve yet with modern hardware or elements. He says, quote, "Actually, there is a theme. I'm starting to run towards the next one, but I can't tell you yet It's a pity that I can't talk much, and he laughs about that, end quote. In addition, Yamauchi believes that PSVR 2 will usher in a new era of racing games, noting that the driving experience and racing experience itself can now be done as much as the real thing. This hints that Gran Turismo 8 might have VR support as well, though it's unclear if the game will be released during the PS5 life cycle. He also reveals that PSVR 2 support was always a target for Gran Turismo 7, with the game shooting for a 4K 60 FPS right from the start for future compatibility with the headset. So there we go. We are pretty much getting confirmation that the next mainline Gran Turismo game is already in development, but unfortunately that's about all we can take from this. We really have no idea, like, if it's in the super early stages, has it been in development for a little while. I'm gonna say that it's probably in the very early stages, considering GT7 just came out last year, and they were clearly still doing a little bit of work for the PSVR 2 version. But that is kind of the big question I have, is whether or not Gran Turismo 8 will be a, PlayStation 5 game that comes out this generation, or if they're going to kind of aim it to be like a launch title for what will be the PlayStation 6. So we'll figure that out in time, but there you go. Gran Turismo 8 is in development. Next up, we're talking about Spider-Man 2. I have an article here from PlayStation Lifestyle where it says Spider-Man 2's Venom voice actor teases news in a cryptic tweet. Spider-Man 2 is releasing this year, and fans are basically desperate for any news they can get. The only footage that's been released of the game is the original reveal trailer. But now Venom's voice actor in the sequel has teased that more information may be coming soon. It's worth noting that before we get anybody's hopes up, Tony Todd, the voice actor for Venom in the game, has done this sort of thing before. In December of 2022, he was asked about Venom's role in Spider-Man 2, saying that the Venom in the game is similar in nature to Rhino from Spider-Man Miles Morales. But this week, Tony Todd tweeted another potential tease, writing #VenomRules, #Spider-Man2, #Beware, #SayMyName. He then followed it up with another tweet informing followers to wait and watch, implying that news could be around the corner. Now, to add to this, we have more actors involved with Spider-Man 2 kind of getting involved, where we have Spider-Man's voice actor, Yuri Lowenthal, responding to Tony Todd saying, yeah, he does. And then on top of that, we have the actor, Najee Jeter, who plays Miles Morales, quote tweeting that, saying they're not ready for what's to come. Now, look, I'm going to tell you guys right now not to necessarily get your hopes up, because we see these things happen sometimes. Just because the voice actors on the internet are interacting with one another, this does not indicate that we are for sure getting some news, a new trailer, gameplay, anything like that. But I will say that in this case, it's understandable why a lot of fans are going to look at this and think, surely it's going to mean something. It has to, because as the article points out, as we've talked about at length, it's been a long time since we've seen anything, and we've seen so little of Spider-Man 2. I agree. I think that fans are getting a little bit desperate to get something new on this game. So it is completely understandable, in my opinion, that fans are going to see this and want to believe and want to assume that something is coming. Well, we're in February of 2023 now. We know that Spider-Man 2 is aiming for a fall release of this year. So, the clock's ticking. We're going to have to start seeing more of this game relatively soon. I don't necessarily know that means this month or even next month, but still, it's going to have to happen sooner rather than later. But there you go. That's the small update for Spider-Man 2 I have for you. Next up, we're talking more about some interesting information we're learning about the PS5 situation. So I have an article here from PlayStation Lifestyle. It says, well, would you look at that? Sony wasn't kidding when it said the PS5 stock shortage is over. For the first time in over 2 years, the console is actually available to purchase on Amazon without an invite system, wait lists, or bot fights. Earlier this week, Sony announced that anyone who wants to buy a PS5 should now be able to buy one. Naturally, people went to go check Amazon to see just how true this statement is, when a Redditor pointed out that God of War Ragnarok PS5 bundles are now available at Amazon without all of the hoops that you would normally have to jump through to acquire one. They went on to say that they actually waited to see how long that would last, because they were sure that they were going to disappear, and they came back to say that they were pleased to inform everybody that they were wrong. At the time of the writing of this writing, you can still purchase the God of War Ragnarok PS5 bundle on Amazon. They've been available for 15 plus hours. I'm not sure if they're actually still available right now. I'm going to assume they are, but still, this is just something I had to cover because, we're basically seeing a relaunch of the PS5, and it's exciting times, I think. And I wanted to just let people know about this because it's been crazy, right? The start to this generation has been strange and crazy and very unpredictable. So it's nice to see it kind of going back to normal and how it should be. But talking about the PS5, now that they are readily available, Sony is actively beginning to push PS4 players, and pretty aggressively, to go buy a PS5, to go upgrade. They actually put out a new trailer on the official PlayStation YouTube channel where that's what it was dedicated towards. Basically letting players know, hey, if you're on a PS4, go upgrade to the PS5. Here are all the features. Here are all the reasons you're going to want to. And we just have not seen Sony do this for the past 2 years. In fact, we've seen them do quite the opposite, where everything they've been doing, they've been including the PS4. And I think that that's where, now that we're in 2023, now that the shortage is over, we're going to see that stop. And it just makes sense that Sony would want to do this. But the final topic I want to discuss with you guys is kind of the opposite of this. So this is reading from Push Square, and they say, here's a fascinating statistic. Considering the unquestionable success of the PS4, Sony is attracting brand new customers to its ecosystem with the PS5. As announced during its latest financial report, the manufacturer revealed that approximately 30% of its newest console's monthly active users in the 3-month period ending on December 31st had never owned a PS4 before. The firm recorded 112 million monthly active users overall for the period. That means that in addition to converting PS4 owners to its new-gen console, it's also having success attracting entirely new customers, or at the very least, lapsed players who never purchased the firm's previous format. This is important because it means that the popularity of PlayStation is actually expanding, and it's been one of the goals of the company for a while. Sony did note that those PS5 owners who are transitioning from PS4 are more likely to spend longer playing and subscribe to services like PS Plus, so it's certainly committed to ensuring customers upgrade their consoles too, as we just talked about. So, this is really good news because it goes to show that what Sony is trying to do with the PlayStation brand is actually working really well, and it's pretty effective. That is trying to bring on new customers, to try to expand, to try to basically, push through this so-called peak or threshold that the console market has seen, where it's like, can we go beyond 120 million, 150 million, as we saw with the PlayStation 2? Like, what truly is the upper limit of the console when it comes to sales and getting these consoles into people's homes? This isn't necessarily saying that it's guaranteed the PS5 is going to break some kind of like record and sell like 160 million units when it's all said and done. No, but it's a great sign that it might be possible, right? Like in the long run, depending on just how much momentum this console can gain in the next like 5 to 6 years, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see where it ends. But there you go. That's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. Again, leave it a like if you did. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.